Hello, everybody. I'm going to probably stay here at the podium. I don't know what that does for the various mics. But I want to thank you very much for the invitation to come and talk to you a little bit about what we're doing at the National Science Foundation. And I'm going to start with a 30,000 foot and drill down into a specific example. So I do want to just give you a little bit of context, a little bit about NSF. I think the previous speakers, we all know what the FBI does and what the Navy does, but you might not know as much about the National Science Foundation. We are a small independent agency, and our main thing is to support the research across, fundamental research across all areas of science, engineering, and education. This is our mission statement from the Organic Act of 1950. We are all in one building in Alexandria also. We have about an $8 billion budget that was in fiscal 19, and we are already a pretty lean agency. 94% of that money goes out the door to support research projects at mostly universities across the country. The challenge for NSF is that the science and engineering research enterprise is changing. It's the most pressing scientific challenges typically exist at the intersections of disciplines, of sectors, and for various institutions, both academic and nonprofit and government. We also know that students are entering a new and rapidly changing workforce, and they need new skills, proficiencies, and capabilities. And NSF is really under a very intense workload environment right now. We get approximately 50,000 proposals every year from researchers across the country. And we have about 500 program directors that handle that workload along with our support staff. These are opportunities to support innovation out in the country, but we also have this opportunity to bring those innovations that we are supporting through our research grants back to the agency to make them work for us. So our efforts in thinking about renewing NSF started in 2017. Many of you know in the government that there was a call for agency reform, agency modernization. So we took that opportunity to kind of look at ourselves and say, what could we do to become even more agile and responsive to the 21st century scientific, engineering, and education enterprise across this country? And that's what we call renewing NSF. So we started the way we always start, which is to engage the workforce at NSF. So it's very similar to what you heard from the previous speaker about thinking about engaging the minds and hearts of the staff at the agency. We started with brainstorming. That doesn't look like it should. Not yet. No, I think we're missing some text there. Okay, so we're generating, we started with brainstorming with the staff, which generated some 200 ideas for we asked them a simple question. If you could do one thing to improve the agency, what would it be? And we came up with lots of different ideas, and I will tell you that a lot of them were around the IT that supports the function of the agency. We sort of refined all of those. We focused down into 4 main themes, which are shown here. And we have subsequently been working under those themes to identify specific actions that we can take. So the themes are making IT, making information technology work for all, adapting the workforce and the work, streamlining, standardizing, and simplifying our processes and practices, and expanding and deepening our public and private partnerships. As I said, the bulk of the suggestions that came in from staff were around the IT part. There were also a lot around streamlining and standardizing. For a small agency, we managed to generate a lot of bureaucracy. So those are efforts where IT can actually help with that as well. So for today's purpose, I'm only going to talk about the one theme, making IT work for all. Within each of these efforts, we also engaged the agency in thinking about what were some actionable steps that we could take within each area. And within the IT place, there were about 6 or 7 different steps. I'm going to focus just on one, which is, so I'm sorry, my slides are completely, you're missing all of the wonderful words. So we'll just ignore those. So I'm going to focus on one, which was creating a new mechanism to rapidly incubate, coordinate, and demonstrate IT innovation. So at NSF, as in most agencies, we have a strong central IT team, and they maintain our systems and develop new solutions as our business needs change. So this is not about that. It's not about the structure, the infrastructure at the agency and about what our central IT team is doing. It is about capturing the ideas that come from the rest of the staff. We have a lot of creative people, entrepreneurial people on staff who are constantly coming up with their own IT solutions. And some of you may encounter that yourself. We sometimes call that the shadow IT at an agency, where somebody says, I can get a workaround, like there's something else I want to do, and they generate their own little apps and algorithms that they run at their desk. So we really wanted to bring these ideas out of the shadows and mainstream them so that everyone could benefit from the innovations of their colleagues. So I'm going to give you one example, which is the Suggest Reviewer tool. So going back to the mission of the agency, which is to we receive 50,000 proposals. Our job is to get them, to review them, engage the expertise of the scientific community to review them. Our policy is that every proposal needs at least 3 substantive reviews. So now we're talking 150,000 reviews that we need, because primarily, there's some exceptions, but really most of the proposals need reviews. And we rely on our program officers to manage that process. And primarily, the way that we have been doing that is to rely on the knowledge and expertise of the program officer, their knowledge of the community. They do some manual searching for relevant experts, a lot of Google searching going on, and then applicants can also make some suggestions. That is the process that we have done for a long time. That's a massive undertaking. How can we make this easier with IT? That is what was the focus of the activity, and really it's allowing us to harness the power of our extensive past proposal library. By categorizing incoming proposals into various categories based on the topics that they're addressing, we can use document processing and clustering tools like Lingo4G, which index and analyze documents, extract key topics. We then look to see what other proposals that we have received over time that are similar to the ones that are present. We use this algorithmic matching of the new proposals against our library of past proposals that have similarly been categorized. Who wrote those proposals, previous ones? Who reviewed those previous proposals? Now we have just immediately generated a whole suite of people who could have potential expertise to now review the new proposal that has come in. This gives a short list that goes back to the program director. They still use their own knowledge expertise, but they now are starting with a set of suggested reviewers. So we have moved from a system that relies on their own individual expertise to matching it to agency data. The outputs are faster and improved surfacing of reviewers, saving time, but also, more importantly for the mission, creating a deeper pool of participants in the review process, which democratizes the whole process for the National Science Foundation. So that's what they're all supposed to look like. This was started by an idea on the ground up from one program officer who said, hey, I think I could do this better. It was locally built, tested on our internal server space, socialized to the agency, and improved iteratively with use and feedback by the program officers who were using it, became a tool eventually that we wanted to elevate to enterprise status. So it's now been moved into our enterprise data warehouse, and it's available agency-wide. We still believe that there's opportunity to improve it even further by moving outside the agency and bringing in external data, like the publication databases that are publicly available. So, keys to success: stay focused on the mission, right? This is the mission of the agency, to review these proposals and make decisions about which ones get funded. We also need to engage program and operations as a team, very similar to what Frank was talking about, and also embrace the potential of these bottom-up tools. Thanks. I'm happy to take any questions.